So let's talk about the real secret to success, because I guarantee it's not what you think. We have this idea that success is a solo journey, right? That it's all about climbing to the top by yourself. But what we're going to break down today shows a completely different picture. The truth is, our greatest strength isn't individual at all. It's all about the group.
Okay, to really get this, let me ask you a question. Picture those massive, giant sequoia trees in California. I'm talking about trees that are over 270 feet tall and have been standing there for thousands of years. They've lived through floods, droughts, crazy storms, everything. So how in the world do they do it? You've got to assume they have these incredibly deep roots, right?
Well, get ready for this because it's pretty wild. Their roots are unbelievably shallow. They only go down about 6 to 12 feet. Seriously, that makes absolutely no sense. A tree that tall should just get knocked over by a strong wind. So, what is their secret?
And here it is. This is the whole key. They don't stand alone. Under the ground, their roots spread out wide and intertwine with all the other trees in the forest. They are literally holding each other up. So their strength isn't about how deep they go individually. It's about how connected they are collectively. And that right there is the perfect metaphor for what we're diving into.
So, let's take that brilliant idea from nature and apply it directly to our own lives. In our first section, we're going to explore why our connections, our network, are truly everything.
I mean, think about it. This goes way, way back. For millions of years, how did humans survive on this planet? It wasn't because we were the biggest or the strongest or the fastest animals around. Nope, we survived and eventually thrived because we figured out how to organize, how to cooperate, and how to work together. Our strength has always been in the we, not the me. And this isn't just some ancient history lesson. Check this out. Research from the Carnegie Institute of Technology found something absolutely stunning. Only about 15% of your financial success comes from your technical skills. The other 85%, that comes from your ability to connect with people, to communicate, to lead. It turns out your so-called soft skills are actually your most valuable assets. And to really hammer this point home, let's look at another piece of research. This author, Ken Honda, wanted to understand what money and wealth are all about. So he went out and interviewed over 12,000 millionaires. Can you imagine? After all those conversations, what did he figure out was the real secret to money? It was incredibly simple. Your real wealth is your relationships. He found that if you have all the money in the world but no one to share it with, you're not really wealthy. But if you lose everything financially but have strong relationships, you can get it all back. It's an incredible insight. In fact, a whopping 90% of billionaires say their relationships were a key ingredient to their success. Let's make this super concrete with a real story from our source. The author lost his job right after the 9/11 crisis. The market was in chaos. It was a terrible time to be looking for work. But here's what happened. A friend from college reached out and connected him with a placement consultant. Well, that consultant happened to have a friend who was hiring. And just like that, through that chain of people, he landed a new job. That is the power of a network. So you see, your network does two critical things for you. When things get tough, it acts like a safety net, catching you when you fall. And when things are going well, it's like a springboard, launching you towards opportunities you would never, ever have found on your own. Okay, so we're all on board with why this is so crucial. Now for the big question. How do you actually build a powerful network? Because, it's not always as straightforward as it sounds. Let's get into it. You're probably sitting on a gold mine of potential connections and don't even realize it. Your old college alumni network, that's an instant source of trust. Hobby groups where you already share a passion for something, the barriers just melt away. Even things like parents' networks or groups focused on social causes are incredible places to build genuine, lasting relationships. But here is the single most important mindset shift you have to make. The key to authentic networking isn't walking into a room thinking, what can I get? It's asking, what can I give? When you approach every single interaction with a mindset of contributing and adding value, you won't believe the doors that start to open for you. And this is a total power move, especially when you're connecting with people who are more senior or experienced than you. Instead of asking them for a favor, which they get all the time, just flip the script. Ask them, is there anything I can do for you? It's so unexpected and so effective for building a real relationship. You'd be surprised what you have to offer.
All right, let's get real for a minute and talk about some of the biggest things that stop people from building these connections. In this section, we're going to bust some of the most common myths about networking. This changes everything. So the myth is you need hundreds of contacts on LinkedIn. The reality? 5 solid, deep relationships are worth more than 500 shallow ones. The myth is that it's all about taking. Nope. The reality, as we've said, is that it's about giving. And maybe the biggest myth of all, that this is only for extroverts. That could not be further from the truth.
In fact, as the organizational psychologist Adam Grant points out, introverts actually have a secret superpower here. They are often much better at building those fewer, deeper, and more meaningful relationships that really matter in the long run. They naturally focus on quality, not just quantity.
So, if you're an introvert, lean into your strengths. Focus on what you can give. Use tools like LinkedIn to break the ice before you meet someone in person. Prep a few opening questions so you feel more comfortable. And try to choose smaller events where you can actually have a real conversation. Your ability to listen and connect one-on-one is a huge advantage.
Okay, let's pull all these threads together in our final section. It's time to really redefine what true wealth means for our lives. And yeah, for our careers. It all comes down to this one simple but incredibly profound equation that pretty much every successful person understands, whether they say it out loud or not. Your network is your net worth. The value you create in the world is directly tied to the quality of the relationships you build.
So as we wrap this up, let's lock in these key ideas. 1. Remember that relationships are your most durable, most important form of wealth. 2. Always approach this with a giver's mindset. 3. Focus on the depth of your connections, not just the number. 4, and this one is critical, build these relationships before you need them. And finally, remember that trust is the currency of all of this. And just like money, it compounds silently over time. So I want to leave you with one final actionable challenge. Think about it right now. Who is one person in your network, one of those roots in your forest that you've kind of neglected? Make a commitment right now to reach out and reconnect with them this week. It might just be the most valuable thing you do.